It's mic'd up with Mikie Mahtook. Got the boys in. I got Lloyd. We got J. Mitch. We got Jackie Boyd.
He tried to jump up and he might have knocked it in.
Good timing. Let's go. What a start to the Monday. I mean, I'm from Lafayette. My boys will come in and say,
oh, God. So me and Joe on the ground. I got Joe in the headlock. And he's sitting there, he's punching me in the stomach, like, punching me.
Here, there's everyone sitting around, who here thinks Ochinko can practice today after having 5 full beers? And he goes, Chad Jones, right? Chad's doing the team. 6 minutes. For 7 minutes, right? Chad's like, no, man, I don't think Ochinko can practice today. And I was like, I look back, I'm like, Jesus Christ. I saw you there. You were more fucked up than me.
On the Spirit plane had some issues, I think. She was sleep farting.
you heard her or you just thought it was her?
I sat right next to her. I smelled it.
Whoa. What was that?
Good show.
Now, when you do go to spring training, are you gonna bring your chinchilla and your turtle?
My dad tell you about it.
The SEC is God, they hate fat people. I mean, I get crushed for that. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, man.
Hey, just the South, bro. You got a bunch of food down here. Like they should.
Players, look at Lloyd.
You know what, Lloyd?
You're looking for a recruiting coordinator, coach, I'm here.
He's like, I'll piss my pants right now.
No way.
We're wearing gray pants, long gray pants. He goes, I'll piss my pants right now. Hello. Welcome back to Mic'd Up. Today is Friday, May 3rd. It's Loosey Goosey Friday, as it always is. We're here live from our new friends and our new home, Indigo. It's the home of Indigo, indigopapers.com. If you like to dabble or looking to dabble in the CBD game, the Delta 8, Delta 9 stuff. Listen, I'm not educated that much in it. Don't really know a lot about it. But no, it kind of feels kind of good sometimes to help with recovery. CBD is big on the recovery side. Indigo Papers has everything that you need. Go indigopapers.com has everything that you need. They have drinks, some seltzers that they make that you can find in some of these some grocery stores.
Grocery stores.
Lloyd, you've had some experiences with them.
Oh, of course.
They're nice.
I am the.
Some
They
would
taste.
say.
Some would say.
They taste great.
Yes.
They taste great. They have gummies. They have everything that you really would need, maybe for some recovery or some things to make you help some with some anxiety.
Depression.
Anxious, all that kind of stuff.
Sleep well.
Sleep well. They got all that. Check them out. IndigoPapers.com is our new home.
We're
We're
just trying
at the
to have a
offices.
good time.
Just having a great time. They got that too. We're at the offices of Indigo. So Loosey Goosey Friday. This is a good way to make yourself feel loosey goosey.
Yes.
If you want to. Big show today. Obviously, big weekend for the LSU baseball team. This is a great measuring stick. They had the tough first 5 games, the first 5 series of the year in the SEC. They've won their last 2 series, and now the number 1 team in the country is coming to Baton Rouge to play them. It's a great measuring stick to see what they have learned over the course of this last 2 weeks and the improvements they made after the first 5 weeks ended up in losses for them. They're playing better baseball. Their pitching staff is pitching better. Their bullpen's pitching better. Offensively, they are playing well, but they still have to come up and more consistently have those timely hits to drive some guys in. So we're going to be previewing the weekend. Obviously, LSU plays tonight. On Friday, they play tomorrow. On Saturday, they play tomorrow. And then they play on Sunday for the 3rd game. And then that will be the end of the series. So big series for them. LSU's fighting for their postseason lives. They are 7-14 in conference right now. I think right now they sit at I think before the Tuesday game, they sat at a 40 RPI. They're probably still around that same number. They're playing A&M this week, and A&M's RPI is one of the top ones in the country, if not the top in the country. So playing these games this week and getting a couple wins against the number 1 team in the country is going to help their chances of becoming an at-large or helping their resume to get in the postseason. So lot to talk about, lot to preview. Yes? Go ahead.
We'll get into it.
Go ahead. Let's get into it.
I'm looking at the RPI right as of now.
I don't know. You asking how it works?
Yes.
I don't know.
Okay. Because Texas A&M is 1, and LSU clearly is not. I think
It's
they're
based off. Listen, how does
43.
How does the Ken Pom stuff work for basketball?
Oh, like quad 1 wins, quad 2
So that's
wins.
similar, right? Like how many how good of these teams that you're playing, where are they in the RPI, strength of schedule, strength of record?
It takes
all that
into
kind of
everybody's, like, just not just your strength of schedule, it's the schedule
That you
strength
play.
of the teams that you also play.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And that's,
whose mama's got the best cooking?
Yeah.
All of that.
All that stuff, right? It's got it all. They combine it into this algorithm, and then they give you a rating. And obviously, had
BCS poll.
LSU lost, had LSU
Basically.
lost to
Grambling,
that would not have been good for the RPI.
But it doesn't help your RPI at all.
It doesn't help your RPI, right? Playing a bad team doesn't help your RPI. Playing good teams does. It doesn't hurt you necessarily as much as if you lose to those good teams. So this will be a big challenge for LSU this weekend. I think they've positioned themselves this weekend, the way they've played over the last couple weeks, to have a chance to win and compete and play good baseball. But you have to play good baseball. There's not a lot of room for slip-ups, not a lot of room for error
Whoopsie-daisies.
errors in the game. You've got to play a really good game. You cannot give them extra.
Stop touching that.
Oh, you got to give them. You can't give them any extra opportunities, right? A&M's lineup is one of the most potent in the country. 8 or 7 of the 9 starters are hitting over 300, and you can really make it 8 because one of the guys hitting 299. So let's say 8 of the 9 starters are hitting over 300, and the 9th starter is kind of, they rotate in the second base rotation. But Braden Montgomery is leading the charge. He's hitting 365 with 23 home runs.
Is that good?
It's pretty good. He also throws a little. He's on the bump a little bit. Right behind him, I guess we're gonna go down averages. No, we're gonna go most through the scariness of the offense, right?
Who are you circling? Who you highlighting?
Right behind him is Jay Slavolette, right? Jay Slavollette's hitting 322. Also has 23 home runs.
Is that good?
Very good. He's their center fielder. And right behind him is their third baseman, Gavin Grahovic, who is a true freshman.
True.
He's hitting .332 with 16 homers.
Is that good?
So those are the three guys. Those are the top three. Now everybody else in that lineup is obviously has the ability to drive the ball to the ballpark and get hits and drive in runs and affect the game that way. But those three guys, if you make a mistake, they're going to take advantage of it. Now, they're not a perfect team. And why do I say that? Look, they have two starters. One has been really good. Ryan Prager, who's going to be their Friday night guy tonight, he has been very good. He's got a 2.5 ERA. He's a left-handed pitcher, and he's done really well. It's not going to overpower you with a whole bunch of 99, 100-mile-an-hour fastballs, but he's going to pitch, and he's going to get you out. He's got a bunch of strikeouts, and he's been their Friday night guy. Their Saturday night guy is Justin Lampkin, also a lefty. He's got a 4.5 ERA, similar type of guy. He's going to go out there and throw strikes. Now, both of those guys are lefties. LSU's offensively has not performed all that great against the left-handed starting pitchers. I think they're good, but they don't have the stuff of a typical Friday night guy. That'd be the one thing that I would say. Would you agree or disagree, Jay?
Yeah, the stuff doesn't particularly blow you out of the water. It's not 99 with 15-plus inches of horizontal break and all of this crazy stuff, right? Like, the stuff is what it is. These guys have been very successful on the mound. They've pitched it very well. Obviously, they've swung the bat even better this year. Man, I look for LSU. I talk about getting into that Friday night guy. I'm not exactly sure that for however long that Prager and or Lampkin's on the mound, because it's the only two starters that we know so far. I'm not exactly sure how much you can scratch across against them, but I do think it's very, very, very important. It's paramount that you just be a tough out, man. Like, you got to go up there. You got to grind out at bats. You got to make him throw pitches. You got to foul off bastard pitches. You got to make him come into the zone, and you just got to make life pesky and make life tough for him. Hopefully, you can get runners on with nobody out, runners on with one out. Make them uncomfortable. Get them out of the windup. Get them into the stretch. Make them have to think about something else than just getting into a rhythm and being able to throw. I think that part of it is going to be super key. Like, we always talk about getting to that Friday night starter. Usually we mean it in the sense of, hey, put up the runs to be able to get him out, to be able to run the – I'm not sure. I don't know how much you're going to be able to muster against them. But if you can run up the pitch count, gives you a better chance. And I think the team that we've seen over the last 8 games, the last 6 SEC games, the last when we saw him play on Tuesday, I think if you can see a little bit more of that offense, or that offense graduate and go a little further, I think you got a real chance, because the pitching on the LSU side has been better.
Yeah.
Those guys have thrown it a lot better over the last couple of weeks, right? And you've gotten quality starts out of, well, not for 2 weeks in a row, but for 1 week for sure, out of Friday and Saturday in a row. So if you can continue to get that, I think the better you are at turning this into a dogfight. Like, literally turning it into a dogfight. Get ugly, get scrappy, scratch some runs, be able to take some dirt ball reads, be able to take some first to third in people's face, to be able to go to home to second somebody else's face. You have to start doing – this is not small ball, but you got to start literally playing the game this weekend. I think if you get dirty, I think if you play the game this weekend, you start playing with some attitude, like some legit attitude this weekend, you can walk out of here doing something that probably nobody in the country thought you would be able to do. And I think that can really be something that springs you forward through the rest of the season.
Let's stay on the pitching, like their pitching staff, our offensive side first, before we flip it and talk about the reverse of that. I'm looking at their staff, right? I'm looking at A&M staff. Obviously, we know Friday and Saturday starters. Schlossnagle came out and said that more than likely the Sunday starter is going to be Tanner Jones, right? He's got 10 starts on the year. He's got a 6.75 ERA. So out of the 3, he's the one that hasn't been as effective. I'm going down looking at their guys in their bullpen. They've got a really good pitching staff.
Yeah, really
They
good.
have 2 guys outside of Tanner Jones, who's a starter. They have 2 guys with 10-plus appearances has an ERA over 4. Everyone else is sub 4.
Yep.
Right? So they are, like I said, we believe that they're the most complete team right now in college baseball. And I don't think that they are unbeatable. Obviously, they've lost 9 games. They're 39-9. 6 games. 39-6. They're 39-6. They've only lost 6 games. Hopefully, they lose 9 games. You know?
Oh,
LSU. That'd be great.
I
They're
like what you did there.
They're 39-6, and they're playing really good baseball. Chris Cortez, Jay, that's the guy I was thinking of. He's the guy that throws 100.
Yeah. That's the righty.
That's the righty that throws really hard.
Yep.
And look, they have their closer, Evan Aschenbeck, another lefty, has 7 saves, doesn't blow you out the water. So what I'm noticing and I'm watching, and when I've seen some of their stuff, is these guys have control of the strike zone. They have control of what they do on the mound, and it's not like all of them are gonna be throwing 100 miles an hour and just blowing you away. They're gonna outpitch you. They're gonna throw the way they need to throw, and they're gonna make the offense force them into a position where they're not in the advantage, right? They're at a disadvantage, right? Now flip it on our offensive side. You already said it. You need to get their starters out the game and get into their bullpen early. That's the key to any successful offense against a really good pitching staff. How do you do that, right? LSU hasn't hit really well against left-handed starting pitchers up until this point in the season, and these two guys are pretty solid, especially the Friday night guy, especially Ryan Prager. So how does the offense position themselves to strike whenever there's an opportunity? Well, you got to work counts, like Jared said. You got to work. You got to make those pitch counts go up. You got to get on base any way you can. And when you're on base, offensively, you have to do something to be able to drive them in. You have to come up with a big hit, right? I've talked about this a little bit earlier. I think the approach against
scrambling
these left-handed pitchers, I think we need to change the way we approach that. And at least I would in my head as a hitter. If it hasn't worked, okay, it seems like they're trying to work this guy away, or the lefties are trying to work away, and they're trying to hit the ball the other way, all these types of things. Well, I think that they're playing into the strengths of these guys. I think you got to hone in on, okay, let's change it up. Let's force this guy back over the plate. Let's not swing at the pitches that he's trying to make me swing at, which is nibbling away and try to hit the ball the other way. Let's try to hit that pitch middle in, up the middle the other way, and then you're on time for everything else. At least that's my opinion on it. I don't know exactly the scouting reports on these pitchers, exactly where they like to attack these hitters, but you've got to make these at bats very hard for these guys.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine these guys have pitched well this year, so I would imagine they've been able to use both sides of the plate. I'm right there with you though, especially because they don't have overpowering stuff.
Right.
So with that being said, like you should really, really, really buy in and really sell out to seeing the baseball as deep as possible this weekend. Really using the middle and the other side of the field this weekend, because the more you can do that, the more you can kind of stay on their off-speed pitches, because they don't have anything that's 98. I say they, not the whole day. I mean the starters, right? They don't have that kind of velo in the tank. So you don't really feel like, oh, let me get the head out and get to, like, if I get there, great. But I think if you can start the game as a team collectively, really trying to back the baseball up, really trying to just be a pest, a straight-up pest, I think you can get them really uncomfortable. You can get them out of the stretch early, and then now you become the aggressor in those situations. And I think you kind of get a chance to flip the tide a little bit if you're able to do that. And this could get real shaky, because this team's been so good. I mean, like you even saw it last week. Don't get me wrong, they went down 9-0, but then they end up winning that same game 19-0. Like, they've been so good on offense that it's almost like their pitching staff knows they're gonna swing it at some point.
Right.
So let's just keep pounding the zone. But at some point, you kind of see that happening the other way around, and you're like, all right, they're getting on us a little bit right here. That's a little much. So being able to do that inning in and inning out, I think, is huge for this team.
No doubt, right? And it's about, you want them to be consistent, right? Like, you want them to, like, go up there and know this is what we're trying to do and this is what we're going to do, right? Like, you can't just say, "Oh, I'm gonna try this as a bet. Try this as a bet. Try this,"
be
and
okay.
then change it.
Yeah, like you say, be okay with not being perfect with it one time, right? But understand, I'm gonna buy into this plan because I know if we can do this, we can really make it uncomfortable for them on that side.
No doubt, no doubt. And I think that if you do it early on,
Yeah.
it's gonna bode well for the future of the series, right? Like it's just a confidence. We talk about confidence a lot, but baseball is a game of confidence, right? It's a game of momentum, and if you've proven that you can do that, right? Especially early on, especially a guy that's got has really good numbers. That can put you in a position to where, okay, we're going to continue this momentum. You've won 2 straight series. You're putting yourself in a spot where, okay, we have a chance to now do something special, and that's what I want to see. We're hitting with runners in scoring position is going to be crucial.
Yeah.
This weekend, you may not get a ton of opportunities to have these scoring opportunities in these big innings, and when you do have an opportunity, runners on second and third, 2 outs, runners on first and third, 1 out, runners on second and third, 1 out. You've got to be able to get some runs in. No more bases loaded, no outs, no runs. No more runners on first and third, no outs, no runs. Like, I don't care if bases are loaded, no outs, you hit into a double play, score a run. Like, somehow get that guy in. There can't be those opportunities and you come up empty-handed.
And here's the thing, too. You just take tonight, Friday night, right? Prager's thrown 59 innings on the season. He's only given up 16 extra base hits, 8 doubles, 8 triples. So it may very well start with the walk and or the single or the runners on first base. It may very well start there, and then you got to move him to second base. Then you got to get things going. Be able to take these dirt ball reads. Be able to, hey, if I need you to move them and actually play baseball, hit behind the runner and do it, move them. And then when you get these guys in scoring position, be a pest. You got to be a pest. You can't go down three or four pitches. Can't just give away at bats in those situations, because if you do, you're playing kind of right into what they've done all year, and you're playing into getting that offense comfortable and back in the dugout, and where you're kind of going to play the crowd out of it a little bit as well. You have to be a pest this weekend.
Yep, a pest. That's the best way to say it.
And it was 8 doubles, 8 home runs, no triples given up. But I'm just looking at his numbers
That's not what I
too.
said.
No, you said triples, so that's what I'm just looking at the same thing you are. I'm just looking at the stat sheet.
7 triples would be a lot.
Yeah, 8 would be even more. But it's the amount of runs he's getting whenever he does pitch. The run differential is 107 to 29. And so they're getting on teams early and often, and that's allowed him to settle in and not have to really worry about pitching with to try to get a lead.
It's honestly probably worked hand in hand. There's probably been days where they've been on the road and or the bottom of the first. Or the bottom of the first, and they're getting a ton of runs, or the other way around where he goes out and it's 9 to 12 pitches in the first, and he's got him back in the dugout that quick.
Yeah, I was just watching some of the Vanderbilt game, and that's what happened. He had, I think, 6 strikeouts through a 2 1/3, where it was just, and Texas A&M had already put up a 5 spot.
Right.
And it's just like, well, now I'm in cruise control, and he ended up that Vanderbilt game, 7 innings pitch, only 4 hits, 10 strikeouts, no walks, and it was 15 to nothing.
And he doesn't, and that's the thing about him too, is like you watch him pitch. Look, everything that he's done has been great this year. He doesn't walk anyone. He's striking out people at an alarming rate. He's going deep into games. But like we said, when you look at the radar and you look at all this stuff, and the numbers aren't crazy. They're not crazy numbers. So it's like, all right, I know he's going to attack me. I know he's going to throw strikes, right? You have to be really disciplined to seeing some of these pitches up in the zone, not chasing the high heater, not chasing the back foot slider. Like, get him in the zone and put the wood on. Be able to hit him.
Right.
That's what you got to get to.
Right.
And a lot of what he does, at least from the little bit I've watched basically just now, is he's not very reliant. He wasn't very reliant on his fastball early in counts. He can throw anything in any count.
Which kind of scares me.
Yes, especially with it being them going back-to-back lefties on LSU, who hasn't been able to have as much success against left-handed pitching. For those two to come at you in waves and talk about run support, you haven't really gotten it for Luke Holman. That'll be on Saturday. But still, that's one of those things you'd hate to waste an outing where he goes toe-to-toe with a Texas A&M game that puts you in a situation to win.
Well,
and
sooner or later you're gonna have to do it anyway. So
yeah,
it doesn't. Here's my thing, and like this, like when you face guys that are like this, it takes such an advanced approach to be able to hit them. It takes
and
such
disciplined
an advanced approach to understand. Hey man, you may not be getting first pitch heaters. You may not be getting 2-0 heaters. You may not be getting 3-1 heaters. he can throw these other pitches in the zone. I'm not saying you got to sit on him, but you can't let breaking balls just flipped over the plate, taking strikes, and you just kind of walk away with it. You have to understand, like, I get to a 2-0 count. I may not get the heater right here, but this is my hitter's count. Don't let this get me over breaking ball. Just go right into the catcher's mitt and he throw it right back.
Well, and here's the deal.
Make him uncomfortable.
If you're not going to get a ton of fastballs and then you come up to the approach of, okay, this is my approach, and you do get the fastball and you end up not swinging at it and he maybe surprise you with it, don't get out of your approach, right? That's the hardest thing as a hitter is like, okay, I'm looking for it. Maybe I'm in between. I see it. I don't swing at it. Now I take it. The next pitch he throws you, it's a breaking ball, and you automatically swing at it because you feel like you're chasing, and you already missed your fastball, so you think he's going to come back. You've got to be as disciplined as you can possibly be, and on those next pitches. It's okay if you don't, swing at a pitch that you maybe think you should have swung at, but don't just throw away the plan because of that. You got to lock it in, disciplined, advanced approach. Moving forward, every pitch with this guy is going to matter, and you've got to just lock it in because you've got to get him out the game.
Yeah, this doesn't seem like a favorable matchup going into LSU on their first game of the series.
No, but
I mean,
we could
say that. We could say that with anybody he's faced.
Yeah.
Right, I know, but
that's not.
It feels like it plays right into LSU's weaknesses of a lot of swing and miss that you've seen, not being able to get runners on, and then you get a guy that's able to kind of cruise through the game. You look if you're in the sixth.
But if you talk about their first 5 series in the SEC, I don't think there was a lot of good matchups in the sense of what they've done on paper.
Right.
So it's hard to look at it that way,
Let's talk about this, though. You said not a good matchup for LSU on the offensive side with their pitching staff. Let's flip it the other way, right? Gage Jump has been one of the best pitchers in the country the last 2 weeks.
Yep.
He's got super talent. He's super talented. He's had a really good last 2 weeks. I think he's a matchup problem for anybody, right? And I talked to you about how dangerous A&M's lineup is, right? And they're very dangerous. If you make a mistake and they connect with it, it has a chance to go a really long ways, and they're hitting for a high average, right? True. But these guys also aren't afraid to strike out a little bit, right? I'm not saying they're striking out this crazy alarming rate, but Braden Montgomery's got 40 strikeouts on the year, right? 44 walks, 40 strikeouts, right? That's a great ratio, but he's still striking out. He struck out 40 times, right? Then you go down to Lavalette. He's got 49 strikeouts. And you go to Grahovic, who's got 57 strikeouts. So my point is they are very good hitters, and they're going to drive guys in, and they're going to hit home runs, and they're going to hit at a high average clip. But you have the ability to get them out and strike them out. And with a guy that has the stuff that Jump has, I would not be shocked if you saw him continue to feel it and have a high strikeout total when it's all said and done.
Yeah, I mean, so like this is one of those weekends where you remember 2 weeks. I think it was 2 weeks ago or so. We talked about Gage had 4 1/3 innings with maybe like 90-something pitches.
Mm-hmm.
If you can limit the walks, just limit the walks. I wouldn't be surprised if look up 4 1/3, 4 2/3. He's 80+ pitches into it because this lineup as a whole puts that much stress on you. But if you can limit the walks, this is where I think it becomes huge for him and honestly the rest of his team as it goes forward. Because a lot of that walking situation is how he got to the 90-something pitches before. This team's good, man. Like, they're going to battle. They're going to foul some pitches off. They're going to hit some shit hard too, right? So you may get up there or close to that number pitches-wise, but limit the walks, and that will be your key to success and an opportunity to go deeper in the game and honestly hand the ball over with a lead or tie ball game.
Yep.
And Gage Jump, as far as when it comes to walks, it hasn't been as bad. I know that one game kind of sticks out, but he's got 16 walks and 63 strikeouts.
Well, it doesn't. Yeah, no, it doesn't. It's not that he's been bad. We just talked about. Remember, we talked about like, hey, like he left this game with this and that. I'm like, man, those 4 walks over that amount of innings and that many pitches and that shit wears on a defense.
Oh yeah,
and it wears on having you stand out there and not being able to get back in the dugout and get into a groove and going. That's all I'm saying. It's not that he's walked so many people, but when you throw that many pitches and you have the walks in that amount of time, that it's hard to hit behind that.
Yeah, it just feels like he gets himself into competitive at bats where they go 5, 6, 7 pitches, and he has to work that hard to inevitably either get a strikeout.
But if you're getting into those competitive at bats by going 1-0, 2-0, 2-1.
Right.
That's not where you want to be.
That's what he's saying. Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
my point is if you're getting there by going 0-1, 0-2, or 1-1 to 1-2, and they're following, that's a completely different ball game. But if you're getting there by being behind in counts, then it becomes a different game.
Well, then you have to throw it differently. Like those become high-stress pitches that you have to actually put, whether it be velocity or snap on a curveball. Like you have to try a little bit harder, and those become high-stress innings just like that. And that's why I think the matchup's interesting because it could go where you look up and both these teams are in the 6th, and it might be 1-0. Like this is going as much as we've harped on LSU not wanting to hit the solo home run. This might be one of those games.
And that was why I asked Jay Wednesday, like, if you were a betting man, do you see this being a high-scoring weekend, or do you see runs being at a premium this weekend? And he gave the answer that he did, but that was my question for that because I don't know. I feel like we're kind of seeing the tide. We've all talked about how much A&M scored over the course of the SEC season so far. So it's like, does that continue to go? LSU season starting to turn. Can they continue doing what they're doing? It's an interesting matchup.
Yeah, it's Jay made a good point. Gage Jump hadn't thrown in 22 months.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like he had to take some time to do that kind of stuff. He kind of feels like he's in mid-season form now, and so I'm hoping that he continues that tonight, and continues to go 6. Look, can you ask him to go 7-8 innings every start? No. I mean, you'd like to see that. Going 6, I would like to see him go 6 innings tonight and be super effective, throw strikes, and do what he's been doing the last couple weeks. If he does that, LSU puts themselves in a really good position. You're at home. You have the ability to, have the momentum in the crowd.
Stay in the game. Because that's what you're trying to avoid is the big inning, right? Because it doesn't feel like, as much as you saw LSU put up 26 the other night, that's not going to happen tonight. Like that's just not what LSU has done all this year. So it's one of those games where you could get out of it early, and you'd hate to see that happen because I don't know who they turn to after Jump, and that's where I want to kind of get your.
I think that goes to both sides. Honestly, I think this is a weekend where Jump. They need to play well. Like they can't be absent, right? Jump, Holman, Travinsky, White, and Jones. They need to play well. They can't be absent.
What did Jay say? When you're playing in this, your best players have to play like your best players.
They do. Like that's what I said. They need to play well. But let's be honest. Those two starters are gonna have to hand over the ball to someone, and it's probably not gonna be in a 5-run ball game.
Right.
Those 3 guys hitting in the middle of the lineup are gonna have to do well, but somebody's gonna have to be getting on in front of them, and somebody's gonna have to be driving some guys in behind them this weekend. Like you're gonna need a team effort this weekend to get this thing done.
Agreed. 100%. I mean, you can rely on the lineup, those 3 guys on the lineup to have big weekends, but starters, these guys aren't going to go. Both of these guys aren't going CGs.
No.
They're not going complete games. So someone needs to take the ball from them, and someone needs to be dominant after him, like what you're saying.
When we think about this though, and this is why I say it, when we think about big weekends in the sense of Tommy White, Hayden Travinsky, or Bear Jones, you don't think about 3 solo homers.
No, right.
You think about maybe 3 homers, but it's probably attached to 7, 8, 9 RBIs.
Right.
Which means what? People have got to get on this weekend.
Right.
That's exactly what I mean. Like I need them to show up and play, but those other guys are very, very, very key to what's going to happen this weekend. If they can't do that, I think it's going to be tough.
And if Milam has to continue to do what he's doing, right? Continue to have scrappy at bats. Larson needs to continue to do what he's doing. Hey, Braswell's hitting .313 now, right? So continue to get on base at the back end of the lineup.
Boy,
right?
It showed those a little bit, huh? We kind of talked about that.
A little bit, didn't we?
Just a little bit, huh?
Didn't we? I think we brought him up a couple of times. He may not be everybody's favorite shortstop. He may not be lighting the world on fire with doubles and homers and all these stuff.
Ball might not come off at 110, but
he's hitting .313.
He's doing it.
And he's getting on base, and he's setting the table up for the top of the lineup, right? But those guys, you're right, they've got to get on base for the big guys to perform. Now, when they're on base, the big guys have to perform, and they got to drive guys in, they've got to score some runs, and they've got to do those types of things. I think, look, people are talking about how LSU, like nobody's expecting LSU to win. I think they're in a good position in that regard, right? Not a lot of people are expecting them to do anything. And I think that when that happens, it's kind of a rallying cry. They've been playing good baseball. They are talented enough to beat whoever they want to beat. They just got to put it together. And I think that You could see him going. Listen, I'm not saying they're going to win the series this weekend. I would love to see that, but I do see them winning a game. I do think that they can win a game this weekend at least. I wouldn't be shocked if they snuck 2 out. I'm not going to go on the record and say they're going to win the series, but I definitely think they're going to get.
If they get 1, is that a success on the weekend? Are you that far?
Yeah, it is. It is because it keeps you
afloat.
Yeah, it keeps you in the game. Like it gives you a chance to still do what you need to do to get to a postseason spot.
And that's what brings me to my next point. When you look at Game 3, Schlossnagle was talking on TexAgs.com, and they asked, he didn't set a Game 3 starter for the weekend yet, but he referenced Tanner Jones and how that might be the guy. The last time you saw Tanner Jones was in the first inning against Georgia, which he went not so well, Bob. 1-1, third, 9 earned. So if you're able to set, that's why I asked about the bullpen. If you're able to set it up in a way where, and I don't know if Ned Ackenhouse is going to be available. Like obviously he has the hamstring last week.
He doesn't know if he's going to be available for sure on Friday.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that's why I would almost venture to say you almost keep him for Sunday and Griffin Herring for Sunday if you're really trying to get to somebody like Tanner Jones
could be
gettable.
I'm going to tell you right now.
But if you're in a game that you can win.
But I'm going to tell you right now. Griffin's coming out of the pen Friday and or Saturday if they have a chance to win.
Oh, yeah.
I can promise you that right now.
And they'll figure out Sunday.
Because you just got, look at the numbers of it. LSU's sitting here at 7-14 right now. If you get swept this weekend and the magic number's 13, that means you got to do what the next 2 series?
Sweet.
Do you want to put yourself in that situation? No. You got to grab at least 1 this weekend.
And sweep one of the next 2.
You'd be doing something special if you go and grab 2 this weekend.
Yep.
But you got to grab 1 this weekend.
Yep.
It just is what it is.
100%.
That's what made me think if you almost, I know that you don't think this way, but if you're looking to circle a game on the schedule where
No. You circle whatever, you circle the
whatever
first
opportunity presents itself.
You circle the first one.
Yeah.
Because we can sit here and say like, oh, well, let's make sure we set it up this, and what if we go out there and give up 9 in the first in game 3? Because we didn't do what we needed to do in these other games, or we didn't set ourselves up to take advantage of opportunities in these other games. You never know how it's going to happen. So Friday night, the opportunity is there, and that opportunity could be you in the 7th inning down 2 and saying, "Hey, bro, keep us here. We've swung the bats well. I need you right now, Griffin, to go ahead, finish this thing out, keep us here, and maybe we can scratch 2 to 3 across right here."
Yeah,
like that might be your chance. So you have to take the chances that you get whenever you can get them this weekend.
Yep.
And that's where you've seen other guys, especially later in the season, that have stepped up that you might see in roles where they might be high leverage situations, people that you haven't used in maybe those spots consistently all year, but like an Aiden Moffitt, like a Christian Little, where it's, all right, you've been pitching well enough, like, all right.
That's what I meant by
these
other people who was going to start, you're going to have to hand the ball to someone else, and they're going to have to step up this weekend, whoever that may be. Like, it just is what it is.
Friday night game is going to be your biggest challenge, right, as far as a starter goes. But you're also throwing a guy who's been your hottest pitcher. If LSU can get through the Friday night game and somehow sneak a win in that game, I know it's like, oh, they won the first one, you only got 2 more to win another one. I think they match up better with the back end last 2 guys in the rotation for A&M than they do with the first guy.
Yeah.
So if they can somehow, whether it be a 2-1 game or a 3-2 game, whatever that may be, if you can somehow end up pulling that game out, that'd be a huge thing moving forward. Now, those games really haven't gone LSU's way a lot this year. They happened last weekend, right? They had the walk-off last weekend. So, hopefully that kind of starts to start some the ball moving forward. But when they're in those close games, they haven't really gone LSU's way.
If I'm a betting man, if I'm being completely honest, I do think Friday night is their best opportunity to win right now. Why? You've gotten 2 very quality starts out of Gage Jump recently, right? He's thrown well. You have on the other side, Prager's gotten hit a little bit recently. Mm-hmm. You just had an LSU offense who just put up 20-something. They feel good about themselves. To me, Friday night, rolling in, feeling high, the guy that's been your best starter the last 2 weeks is going to throw. You have your entire bullpen available. Friday night, to me, is the best opportunity you have. And I don't mean it because it's the next one. You don't know how the rest of the weekend's going to play out. And you don't know how Friday night could play out. Like, what if you went out there and if I tabbed this weekend and said Saturday's their best opportunity, but Friday night you had everything going, and like the Saturday game at Vanderbilt at home with 2 outs in the 8th, you give up a 2-run homer to give up the lead. Now you've blown everybody that you wanted to throw out of the pen. Would Saturday still be their best opportunity? Hell no, right? I think Friday night is because of what you've done lately as a team, and kind of because of what you've gotten out of them lately as a team.
Agreed. And crazy how crazy, like when you look back at the season, you're like, damn, like games matter. Like the last 2 games, the last 2 weekends where you probably should have swept at least one of the 2. Think if they just swept one of the 2. How much more favorable being 8-13 is than 7-14, just one game.
Well, I think that's where
crazy.
That's when the whole situation almost went haywire because of how close they were and how much the results were in your favor. So you start turning into like, what do we have to do to get better? And you're this close, but you don't want to blow. It's like almost in golf whenever you see like Rory's like, I'm going through a swing change. He's like, I'm not the number 1 player in the world right now, and I should be. And he's like, I'm gonna blow this whole thing up. Like, you said it on the full swing, and they're like, dude, no. And he's like, yes, I don't feel like I'm close. Yeah. And that's where it felt like LSU was, even though you look at the result and you go, oh, it's 1 swing there, 1 swing here, where you would have been you could almost be even 500 in conference play. And they haven't gone your way, but I think they've settled and kind of gotten out of that stream where it was, let's blow the whole thing up. I'm taking your phones away. Like the vibes were not very high.
Right.
And I think that now that everybody's kind of come back down to earth a little bit and assess the situation, you're starting to see them play a little bit differently.
Yeah, no doubt, right? Like they're playing a little bit more confidently. They're playing with a little bit more, with a little bit more of a bounce in their step. Yeah. You win this weekend, watch out.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that as a fan. I'm saying that as like watching baseball. If LSU somehow can figure out a way to win a series this weekend at home against the number 1 team in the country,
it's gonna put a lot of people on notice.
No,
watch out.
Not the notice. I would hate to be the team that has that's the regional. I would hate to be the team that's the regional host, and now you got an LSU coming in as a 2 or 3 seed. I'd hate to be that team. Right. If they find a way to win this weekend, win a series this weekend, that's not what you want. I'm just going to be honest with you. That's not what you want.
And that's where, I mean, Jay has harped on it over and over again. He's like, the SEC is a different animal. If you're just able to get to a regional that isn't chock full of SEC teams, which a lot of them are going to be hosting.
Yeah.
So you might find your way, and the last one they were projected to go to was in Virginia.
Well, LSU is the last 4 out. They're not in yet.
Right, no, I'm saying the last time they were projected was in Virginia. Like, you think Virginia wants to see LSU stroll up after they've even taken one from Texas A&M, and they just found their way into the dance? It's like, oh, this looks a little different than what we've been seeing the last 7 weeks.
Not like, exactly. Not like the first 2 weeks of the SEC slate, like, oh, they've been doing this in the last month. Not good. Not good, Bob. Not what I want to see right now.
Because that's almost what they need. It's like you've seen a little bit where they've gotten through that kind of gauntlet of what the SEC was. I know Florida isn't as good as maybe they were like on paper, but they were playing good baseball then, and that's how baseball is. So now that you've gotten through the other side of it, it feels like they're almost can take a deep breath. Like, that didn't go the way we wanted it to, but at least it's fucking over.
Right.
And you can look at Missouri, you can look at Auburn and go 2 of 3, and now you look at A&M and go, okay, let's pick it back up. But at least we had a chance to get some fucking air. Like, we were drowning, and now you just got it one breath. You're like, okay, I can swim again.
Yeah.
That's all you need. It's a fresh breath. Just a fresh breath. Just a little air. It feels like they got some.
They have an opportunity to do something. I like.
Now, if it goes the other way and it's 12-2 tonight, and then 6-1 on Saturday,
here's the deal. If it's 12,
be hard to get.
I know what you're gonna say right now.
If it's 12-2, honestly, it's not as bad as it being.
Might be second best case scenario.
Yeah. Like, honestly, it's the best case scenario is it being a tight game and Gage Jump going what he needs to do, and LSU pulls out a close one. Second best scenario that doesn't result in LSU with a win is them getting 10 unrolled. Only playing 7 innings.
But it'd be like over in like the third.
Yeah. Right. Second best scenario for the rest of the weekend is that happening, because now you still have a full bullpen and the guys you want to count on for the weekend.
Cam Johnson, come on down.
The best case scenario is LSU not only using 2 guys. Well, actually, best case scenario is Gage Jump going CG. Most realistic best case scenario is only using 2 guys, getting through the game with a win, right? Now, if that doesn't happen, anything that happens with an L, the best case scenario for an L, in my opinion, is 10 run rule in 7 innings. You don't use your guys.
That one doesn't count.
Yeah, I'd like not to see that happen.
But here's a question though: like, what would make the squad feel better about it? Like if Gage went out there and got shelled, or if he ball, maybe some bloop hits. Maybe you find your way through 5, but he just gave up runs.
Shelled, I think.
Why? Because
I think that.
now going forward, you're like, well, shit, was it a pumpkin or not?
No, I think it's Gage jump was giving up some, like, it was unlucky, like basically
maybe got squeezed.
Similar to what happened with Cade Anderson.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay, kind of got behind a couple counts, but made some good pitches. The guy got fisted for a few base hits, blooper base hit. One guy barreled up a ball with the bases loaded, and all of a sudden you look up and you're like, damn, we're down 7-0, but like,
it could have been.
Hasn't thrown terrible.
We haven't made bad plays.
Yeah, that'd be okay.
There was
maybe an error, maybe like a tough error, like
maybe.
Base loaded, like the guy makes a
Some
tough
fluky
play,
shit,
throws it, and like
some outfield error that'll ever happen or something like that.
Right.
And you want to be the team that sends Texas A&M back down to earth a little bit. Whatever they give up 9 in the first, and they don't feel like that.
You have to imagine they are going, like Jay said, they have to imagine that they're going to be in a position where they've been playing super hot baseball for a long time. Baseball is a weird game. Like, you've got to go cold at some point, right? Or not even cold. Just bring it back down to like a level playing field at some point.
Oh yeah, we just score
LSU
5.
LSU did it last year.
Yeah.
At this point in the season, actually.
And listen, they'll never tell you this. They love everything they're doing right now. I can guarantee you one thing: that coaching staff at A&M right now is like, hey, bro, like, I need y'all to come back just a little bit to earth. Like, we want to. They're right in the thick of winning. I think they're a game behind. Yeah, they're a game behind of like being in first place in the league. So that's where obviously they're pushing for that. They want a conference championship. But they're also in the back of their mind probably thinking like, man,
I had never seen this go on forever.
I need y'all to chill a little bit, right?
Don't peak
we
too
got
early.
a tournament. We got a lot of stuff going. There's a lot of season left. Like we can't peak too early right now.
And that's like you referenced LSU last year. Like that's kind of what the beginning of this season was. It just happened almost in reverse, where LSU started out super hot, and won every series it was in. It was to the point where people were like, why can't you sweep them? And like, okay, we're doing our job here, getting 2 of 3 every series. And then you see them start losing series, and it's like, oh, this team's no good.
Yeah.
And it's just the law of averages that baseball plays to. But now LSU's on the other side of it, where it's like, maybe you start catching a little bit of breaks on your end, and you start playing baseball. If you could put Texas A&M in a situation where Tiger Stadium or Alex Box is there, and it's loud, and it starts, they'll be here too. And you start to feel a little bit of that. Oh, we haven't been in a tight game in a minute, not in a tight game on the road in a minute. And it's like, oh, this shit was easy. And now you start kind of forgetting how good you were or how good you are, and now everybody's equal.
Let me make a point right about Gage jump. We talked about early in the season when he had some struggles, right, and he was walking guys. You know what opponents are hitting? What the batting average opponents are hitting against them is?
Yes.
What do you think?
Under 220.
It's right at the Mendoza line.
So that tells me he's got really good stuff. He's not giving up hard contact. He put himself in a bad spot early on in the season, right? And so then when he would give up a hit, there's guys on base and drive him in. He only has 16 walks. He's done a really good job over the last 2.5 weeks, 2-3 weeks of not walking guys. But I thought that was interesting. Luke Holman's guys are only hitting 173 against him. So, with those guys, you're going to be able to win any game that you play in.
Yep. Who has A&M really
Let's give the predictions for the weekend.
seen anything to that caliber?
They've played some good teams. Yeah. Like they've played a tough schedule. You know what I mean? Like,
well, they're in the SEC. I'm just talking about like front end starting pitching like that, where Gage Jump is in that conversation of somebody legitimate ace.
Let's see what they've played Arkansas already, right?
They have played. So going from when they entered conference play, it started with, I guess, does this count? Florida? They played Florida early on.
At that time, they were playing. Well, I mean,
no. Caglione is probably the only guy, front end, top end guy in that rotation, I think.
And they lost 2-4.
Okay.
Florida won, excuse me.
Right.
And then they go to Mississippi State.
Sneaky. They had just come off of sweeping LSU. They probably felt good about themselves.
Right. Played Auburn 9-7, 12-8, and 10-9 in extras.
Good up runs.
Yeah, with a lot of runs.
Okay.
They were swinging it really well at that time too. I mean Auburn.
Yep.
They were swinging it really well at that time.
South Carolina. 1-2 of 3.
They were not
lost the Sunday game again.
They were not playing that great at that time.
And then Vanderbilt is when they got hot. They go 15-0, 9-0, 12-6.
That was when it was
that's when the onslaught really started.
But
actually, that's when they started pitching it better because obviously, as you can see, they were still swinging it before that.
But another loss on Sunday. So this is becoming a thing. If you're LSU and you just start looking at
Here's the deal. Sunday is winnable.
more than that's why I
There's a reason
understand
it's
what game
TBD.
you want to win, but
No, hell no. You can say, well, look, Sunday's winnable because if you do what you need to do in these others, you should be in a better position than the other team. Like, Doug, you know how hard it is in college baseball to have 3 bona fide starters and dudes out of the pen?
Yep.
Shit's hard. Every
Yep.
Sunday's winnable in this league because it's survival of the fittest at that point. It's literally like dog eat dog at that point. Early on, bro, like if we can do what we need to do in this game and not basically waste a quality start and not have to maybe have to spin 3 or 4 arms and now just be like, oh shit, how on earth are we gonna make it to? That's your best chance because that guy who's thrown the best over the last 2 weeks since they've won 6 out of the last
9.
6 out of the last 8
yeah.
or 4 out of the last 6 SEC games. Who's throwing the best?
Griffin Herring and Gage Jump.
How do you win games? You got to do what? You got to pitch it really well. You got to score, but you got to pitch it really well, right?
Yeah.
Who's throwing on Friday? Who's throwing tonight?
Jump.
All right, that's my best chance.
Right.
There it is.
No doubt.
And then they finished up with Georgia, obviously last week,
Slugfest with the win. That's
and lost again on Sunday.
Yep.
So they're obviously struggling looking for a guy. But like you said, it's a war of attrition on a Sunday.
Yeah.
But like I said, you've seen
Win
these
Friday.
and then win Sunday.
Worry about Friday.
I'm with you. I'm just saying, if you're just are trying to hunt one win, I know that coaches
But that's
don't
not
do
what
this.
you can't go in there hunting a win.
No, you hunt the one that's in front of you.
Yeah, you
How
can't
about I
hunt a
say
win.
it like this? Don't get
We can
discouraged.
talk about it.
Yeah, don't get discouraged if you lose the first 2. You
No
still
doubt.
got something
They're
to play
not,
for.
and they're not going to because they know they're desperate for win. Every win matters, but
Right.
you get Friday, you have a chance to have a special weekend.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know, so
And I think that's another big part of it too is that if I get Friday from you, it's blood in the water.
Yep,
And that's when the
doubt.
team starts feeling good.
no doubt.
So like that's another reason why it's so important because you get that one, the morale goes.
Oh, you mean me one Friday, and we got Luke Holman thrown on Saturday, who has been our ace,
It's been our ace. What?
and then y'all lose. They've been losing on Sundays. Okay,
Exactly.
Here we
Like,
go.
Friday's win does so much for you, and it means so much more than just a 1 in the win column.
right.
And it shows you how to be good in the SEC. They've won their last 6 Fridays. Started off Series 1-0.
Hey, would you say the team is doing when Prager throws, scoring wise? Like 100 something to 20?
Yeah.
So you go and beat Prager on Friday night. Why in your mind as a team would you not think, well, who the hell can't we beat?
Right.
So like it does so much for you if you can go and get one for him Friday. That's why I think it's your most important.
And this leads me to the next thing I think we should talk about before we get to predictions. What do you do? Do you feel like you're set lineup-wise, even when you're going up, like obviously we've seen LSU struggle against left-handed pitching, you're going up against back-to-back lefties. Is there something that you change or maybe look at changing to be able to say, like, we got to get some runs here? Is it somebody that you haven't seen yet?
I think your lineup has gotten solidified.
I think that's
right?
the most important thing is to keep it.
Who's he played over this last? Because I really don't know off the top of my head, but when it comes to facing lefties over this last successful run, who's he played in center? Has it
Feels
been
like
Paxton or has it been
Bingham?
Bingham.
It's been Paxton.
It's been Paxton recently. Like last couple of starts, Paxton hasn't played, right?
Right, that's what I'm saying. But I don't remember if that was against lefties or what it was.
I think that was just performance based. I think. I don't know. I would imagine he's gonna get. I would imagine he's gonna be in there against the lefties. I would think, but like Bingham. I feel like he's a righty too. So
I feel like Bingham. This is my guess. I feel like Bingham's better on guys that live up in the zone.
No doubt.
So if
we've been talking about that all year.
Prager is the guy that has this going and he can throw this at any count, you got to be able to throw this and you got to be able to bury it at times, right? So maybe that might not be his guy. Maybe that might be the time for Paxton to play. And guys that you can see throwing a lot more fastballs and or pitches that miss up or stay up in the zone. Maybe those are the guys that are for Bingham. Maybe. I don't know. This is my guess.
Yeah, Bingham has been sneaky kind of in and out of the lineup. Against Missouri, he had, I guess I would imagine he came in because he only had 2 at-bats. Nichols 1 at-bat. I mean, that's fine. Auburn 1 at-bat. And then doesn't play the second Auburn. Didn't play the second game of the Auburn series. Gets 4 at-bats against Auburn. Goes 1 for 4. and then 1 for 4 against Grambling. So it's been
just,
Paxton Kling or
his swing. Just when the ball is down in the zone, his swing is prone to a big chop. Like you just chop the ball into the ground all the time, and
that's why I don't think you'll see him tonight.
I don't either.
Because of the way that they're comparing this cat to when he's coming out of high school. Is he the next Clayton Kershaw? Because he's left-handed, but he does have like a big sweeper that he lives down in the zone with. And for Bingham, that's not your cup of tea.
If he does that and he throws that sweeper to the Bingham's back leg, he has no chance. Right? At least right now, the way his swing is right now.
Jeez, bury the guy a little bit.
I know. I don't think. I mean, he just the way his swing is set up. Just that back leg slider and anything going into him down, it's hard for him to get to.
Against Vandy, he was living down and away, and they were all fishing. But that's why I'm wondering if you like. I think you'll start Kling tonight, but I don't know if you start him at the top of the lineup. That's what I'm wondering. Like if you shuffle this thing up.
Maybe Braswell's the leadoff guy.
I think you keep him there.
I wouldn't move Braswell just because it's gone so well.
Didn't Braswell lead off yesterday? Or not yesterday against Grambling.
I don't know.
I think you keep him there. Like think about it this way: Braswell's done a really good job of turning the lineup over.
Yep. I'm with you.
Who's in the 2-hole?
I'm with you.
Who's in the 2-hole? Larson's done really well swinging the bat.
Yep.
Then you got the big boppers behind it. If you want some performance out of Kling, you should probably give him the best chance to see good pitches. I'd bat him at the top still. I keep him there. I would.
Yep. I'm with you. All right, what we got? Predictions.
Lead it off, Lloyd.
I feel confident in getting one.
Okay, so
I also feel I got this funny feeling that they might get 2.
So 1 or 2. Do they win the series or they get 1 win?
Depends on how tonight goes, but I'll say 1. I say they go 1 and 2. Keep your season alive, but it's going to be more competitive than people think.
I say I'm not trying to piggyback off that,
I agree.
if you can win on Friday, they win series.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't win tonight, I think they might take 1.
And it depends. That's such a layered answer because it depends on how you pitch it tonight. If you play it like you said, if you play in a close game where you burn some arms and you.
Yeah, but if you win, I think.
Oh no, but I'm saying, but you don't, and you end up losing 6-4. You're like, that was our best punch. And now you set yourself up for now the offense has to do something. It hasn't happened with Holman on the bump. I don't know why.
Yeah,
he's continued not to get run support, so that's why I look at Saturday and I go, it's hard to circle that as a win, even though Holman's been lights out. You just haven't gotten any run support. Yeah. And then Sunday, obviously, we've gone through it. That's when A&M struggles because they've wrapped it up.
I think LSU wins 1 game. I think all 3 games are competitive.
How many pitchers do you see tonight? Best case, worst case. And I'm talking
best
about.
Case, realistically, 2.
I think you see 4.
I think you see 3.
I think you see 4 tonight.
Who?
I think you see a starter.
I
think you see someone come in the middle of an inning when the starter's out. I think you see another guy come in for an out or 2, and I think you see somebody try to finish this thing out. I think you see 4.
I'm just wondering who they go to. Fidel's been kind of scratching me a little bit.
Just because the outing you saw.
He looked alive again. I mean, his numbers are great, but obviously he kind of fell off the map a little bit. But I mean, they're batting 196 against him.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna start seeing him if his arm's back. You're gonna start seeing him for sure. All right, we all are consensus that it's at least 1-1.
Coleman starts Sunday.
No.
Maybe a Guidry appearance.
Not as a starter.
No, not as a starter. I'm saying in a moment. That's what he's been waiting on. Is like the last time you saw him in a series where it mattered, it was Guidry against Florida. He came in and he was as cocky as he's ever been. Then he just kind of. You haven't seen him really since.
He just kind of did what?
Away in the wind. But I'd like to see him in a high leverage spot where he can give you 2 innings. I just don't want to burn up all the arms in a losing effort.
Well, nobody wants to do that.
I know, it's just a bad situation to put yourself in. I'm just wondering when you punt.
Nobody wants to do that.
What's the run like? What do you have to do if it still remains competitive in your mind? Like when you're like, all right, we're going for a win.
2 runs.
I mean, 3. Yeah, I think 3 runs.
Maybe even 3, depending on how you're actually swinging it, how you're having at bats offensively. 2 runs for sure, maybe even 3.
Yeah, I'm with it.
Picks to click. So we're all consensus one win
At least.
and feel good about it.
Feel good about it. Pick to click.
I've got mine.
Who
You
you
go first.
got?
Milam.
Nice.
Zeb.
Can't get over the swing.
I don't think I would play again this year. Like, that's my highlights.
I'm gonna go Travinsky. I've said it once. I'll say it again. If we happen to see Milazzo behind the plate, I just think Travinsky's bat plays up when he doesn't have to catch.
I think you'll see him behind the Milazzo because of the lefty matchup. Yeah.
My point. So if he happens to be back there, I like Travinsky.
I think
Like,
Tommy hits one this weekend, but I'm not picking him.
Tommy is nuclear right now.
I know. I'm gonna pick my guy.
Larson?
Going lefty homer.
If he leaves one of those, that's why I picked.
He said this weekend. What do you mean?
Oh, the whole weekend. Yeah, the whole weekend. Larson. Lefty homer though. I still think he's gonna be lefty homer, but the whole weekend you got two of them.
Keep
You
both
mean like
hit-
lefty homer?
lefty?
That's it. Do we have any? Are we doing Lucy Goosey?
I do have
Oh,
a.
look at you. Mistake of the day is brought to you by our friends at Dozy Place.
Yes. Mistake of the day is brought to you by Doe's Eat Place. I have. Hold on, let me pull it back up. I have. Oh, dude. I think that's going to be my curtain call. Hold on. Mistake of the day is there's a woman who lives next to an airport. So you should expect certain things when you live in those areas, I would imagine. And she has called 21,000 times to complain about aircraft noise over her house. That's an average of 57 times a day.
Gotta put that thing on sale.
Well, so what do they want him to do? What does she want him to do? How can like what is? What's the?
we got to start looking at a different
Probably should
location.
move.
Huh?
Probably should move.
I don't know what she's
Get
trying.
another zip code.
She is in. I hate this for her, a single of Perth.
Perth, Australia.
It's not surprising she lives alone. A single Perth resident is said to have complained more than 21,000 times about noise from overflying aircraft last year, accounting for nearly half of all of the complaints in Australia. If you do the math on this, which somebody has, that's 57 complaints a day, 1,750 complaints a month, 3.5 complaints an hour if you sleep 8 hours a night. So she is on a mission. I've been there before where it's you try to call and get through to something, and it's you keep going to voicemail, something's not happening. Like, I can play this game. Or like if you get like left on hold on a like internet or cable,
So
like
you've been there for,
I'll
like-
be fucking here all day.
So you've done it for one day, not
Not a
lot.
year.
That's a lot of bitching right there.
That's a lot in the tank.
sounds like a miserable life.
Terrible.
Good God.
Living right next
I wonder
to
how
the
many
airport.
times she actually got through and had conversation, and then just kept calling.
Or was it all emails? Probably emails.
Oh, it's calls.
That's
Oh, all
calls.
calls.
Yeah.
Wow, get a life. That's too much.
I mean, they definitely know her phone number. It's like,
Just
don't even
move.
answer it.
Just
Too much.
move.
Curtain calls. Brought to you by our friends at Assured Partners. Me? What we got?
I got one. I'm gonna start this one off. It's baseball season. I like to talk a little baseball when it's baseball season, but I'm gonna give you 10 homers in the month of May before the age of 22. It's a pretty long list. Can y'all guess who's on that list in the big leagues?
Mike Trout.
In the history of the big leagues.
So guessing Mike Trout's not on that.
Not on the list.
In 1 month, or just month of April.
Month of April.
Okay, so just month of
22
April.
years of age or younger.
Juan Soto.
Not on that list.
Mickey Mantle.
Not on that list.
What's the stat again?
22 years of age or younger in the month of May, 10 homers or
So
more.
it's obviously this guy is on the list.
This guy's on the list.
And he's the only one on the list, I think.
He is the only one.
Oh, I was gonna say Javi Baez. I feel like he could have
Who is
gotten
it?
super hot.
Gunnar Henderson.
Gunnar Henderson, wow.
Hey,
The Orioles got
Orioles
some
got
guys,
some
dude.
young studs.
If
right
you want,
now.
if you're a Major League Baseball fan, obviously you know the guys that are in the big leagues. Go look at the guys that got in AAA right now in the
Yeah.
Orioles and see what they're doing.
Some studs right now.
And on a field that's really not conducive to hitting homers.
Hey, let me tell you what. There's a lot of dudes that come into the league and light that shit up, right? To be one of one that have done something over a month span ever in the big
Yeah.
leagues is impressive, man.
Yep.
It's impressive.
Shout out to Gunnar.
Gunner.
Gunner. You got one, Lloyd?
He's one of those new age baseball names that you can tell is, big travel ball kid.
Yeah. His dad grooming for this.
Dad said you ain't doing nothing but playing baseball, son.
Big travel ball kid.
We have almost got in a league lacrosse game. I don't know where we are, but we almost had a fight in the stands with a player. He decides that, hey, I think I done had enough. I'm going through the bench, into the stands, and now I'm trying to get to the crowd. I'm going up the railings, and couldn't quite make it.
The other guy was coming down to get him, too.
Yeah, I hate to see when these get stopped, because at some point it's going to happen again. Malice at the Palace, probably one of the all-time great moments in sports. And there's other instances of fans getting very close. You saw, who was it? Ben Stiller and Tracy Morgan flip off Tyrese Maxey after he hits that three-pointer from the logo.
Oh, I didn't see that.
It was awesome. But it's just always nice for the athletes to, I'm going to let y'all know why I'm out here and you're up there.
That kind of reminds me, I don't know if y'all saw the LeBron clip from this week, too.
Oh, yeah.
When he flinched at the woman sitting courtside.
Yeah.
She was like, well, let me eat these words real quick.
All right, my curtain call is the two biggest signings for the Dodgers free agency this year were obviously Shohei Ohtani and Yoshinobu Yamamoto.
Yeah, that's him. That's the one.
He got paid a whole bunch of money. His first outing was not great.
Clipped.
Gave up, I think, 6 or 7 runs. Didn't get out the first or second inning. Don't know the exact line. Not great.
He's overrated.
Since then, his last 6 starts, he has made 6 starts since that disastrous first debut. He has a 1.64 ERA, 40 strikeouts, 33 innings, and a .97 WHIP. Guys are hitting 200 against him with an OPS of 586.
That's why
Some would
signed
call
him.
that good.
So just because you see one guy one day, he doesn't have his stuff, don't mean he ain't good.
He's overrated.
I love the fact this guy came here knowing the spotlight's on him, has to figure it out, had a bad first outing, and said, watch this, and has balled out. So, shout out.
Watch him throw, too. He's got some good stuff.
Yeah, he does.
Clearly. He's no Shotei Imanaga for the Cubs, but
He's been nasty, too.
and he's having a ball out there. He has no clue what's going on.
We got a lot of big stars that came over that's doing it this year.
No doubt.
Yeah.
He was the guy that at the opening press conference he learned how to say "Go Cubs Go" in English, and that's how he ended
Coleman?
it. Yeah.
He went Keon Coleman?
He said, "Let me ingratiate myself to the people."
Love that.
He goes, "What do you say? Go Cubs Go!" And
Go
everybody
Cubs,
was
go.
like, "This is
That's
our
it.
guy.
That's all you
This
need.
is our guy."
That's all you need. Man, that's great.
Cubs are doing it this year.
Cubs are doing it. They're playing good baseball.
They have a lot of
Hopefully LSU plays some good baseball.
scrappy dudes.
Yeah, they do. They do.
Like
They're all
the
putting it
old
together
Oakland
at the same
A's.
time.
Yeah.
No, not Oakland A's.
No,
old,
the
old Oakland A's, yeah. Hopefully LSU plays some good baseball tonight.
Scott
And
Hatterberg
this
and those
weekend.
boys.
And this weekend.
What's that?
Scott Hatterberg and those boys.
That's it. That's it. He walks. That's why he got on base. That's why he's
David
up
Justice was on a podcast, and they talked about that. He goes, that man needs to pay Moneyball everything he's earned, because I've heard more Scott Hatterberg stories that blew this man up. And David Justice goes, man, that movie made me look like shit.
No, it did.
He goes, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, it did. It did. What a movie. I haven't seen that movie in a long time. All right, enjoy the rest of the weekend. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the weekend series. Some really good baseball is being played this weekend. Good luck to LSU. Good luck to the boys. Lloyd, enjoy your wedding.
Not my
Your
wedding.
big wedding
Yeah,
goer. Not
wedding.
your wedding, but the wedding that you were going to be participating.
Lloyd, congrats, man. Congrats.
Yeah,
congratulations.
I've been married 5 times this year.
There you go. There you go. We appreciate the love and support. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel if you can't watch us, but you like listening to us. We're anywhere you get your pods. Again, thank you for everything. Thank you for the support. Thank you for tuning in. We'll be back live on Monday in studio from 6 to 8 p.m. with
Gage Jump.
a special guest of a former regular on our show requested to come back on. So looking forward to that. He's some may call him Meathead, some may call him the reason why he's at A&M now. Tommy
Someone
Moffitt.
may call him the reason
Oh,
why
yeah.
you're sore now.
That's it. That's it. Why I'm sore right now. We love you. We appreciate you.
Four
We'll
sets
see
of
you next
20.
week. Huh?
4 sets of 20.
4 sets of 20. Cinco de Mayo right around the corner. We need to get more workouts before Cinco de Mayo for sure.
Did drink a
We will see you next week. Enjoy your weekend. Peace.